wind blowing straight out to center once again, not nearly as hard as it was yesterday. Out of the southwest in the mid-20s, gusting up to 35 miles an hour, and the score certainly reflected it. Cubs trying to snap a 12-game losing streak on Memorial Day. Let's get the highlights as the Padres jumped out to a 1-0 lead against Travis Wood, but the Cubs came right back against Jeff Suppan. Starlin Castro with the RBI single ties it at 1. Cubs would get 2 in that inning. They would add on in the second. Darwin Barney with his second home run of the season out into left center. Get used to seeing home run balls. Will Venable with 1 out in the top of the 3rd. Close the gap to 3-2. What a day for Chase Headley. One of his 4 hits on the day. Leadoff homer against Wood. That tied it at 3. And then light hitting Everett Cabrera with his first of the season. 3rd homer for the Padres already. It's 4-3. But then Alfonso Soriano with a double into the left field corner. Tied the game at 4 apiece. Ian Stewart, the straightaway center field off Suppan. 2-run shot, 6-4 Cubs. Chase Headley again in the 5th inning. As Wood gave up a career-high 4 home runs. That's a 2-run shot, and that tied the game at 6. Will Venable in the 6th. Knocks in Andy Perino on a double to right. 7-6 Padres. Alfonso Soriano, however, against the lefty Alex Hinshaw. Way out of here. A 2-run homer. Cubs lead 8-7. They would tack on late. In the 7th inning, Starlin Castro turns on 1. So he's now homered in back-to-back games. 10-7. The Cubs would have an 11-7 lead in the 9th. A non-save spot. Casey Coleman gets a 27th out as Perino fouls out to Castro. Cubs win for the first time in exactly 2 weeks. A lot of crooked numbers yesterday as the teams combined for 8 home runs, 18 runs, and 26 hits. So today the Cubs will try to start a winning streak after that victory yesterday, and we go down to the field. And from CSNChicago.com, it's Patrick Mooney. And Patrick, before the game yesterday, Cubs general manager Jed Hoyer, president of baseball operations Theo Epstein met the media. A lot of talk about the streak, but these guys also are knee-deep in draft preparation right now as well.
Exactly, Len. I think those 2 guys were maybe unfairly picked on for kind of not being on the road with the team the past couple of trips. But if you talk to them, you know, they're knee deep in the draft right now. They're out scouting players, and it's not just getting to know the players, it's also getting to know some of these scouts they inherited and collecting all this information where they have 6 picks, something like that, in the top 100, I believe. So they know they really need to hit this draft right and begin restocking the system. And they felt like, you know, getting FaceTime on the road isn't worth it when you're building for the next 5 to 10 years.
Patrick, obviously the development of guys like Starlin Castro, today's starter, Jeff Samardzija, at this level, that's all important. But is it safe to say that the development of Anthony Rizzo, Brett Jackson, Javier Baez, who made his Peoria debut at low A yesterday, and draft day, that those things are actually maybe more important when you look at Cubs baseball for the next few years?
I think without a doubt. I think if you look at the decisions they've made leading up to that point, they've always erred on that side. And I think they love what they've seen out of Samardzija. They think he can be a frontline starter. They expect to see more out of Starlin Castro, but they're not going to overreact to one nice win or even a 12-game losing streak. They made that clear that Anthony Rizzo is not going to be the savior of this offense. Brett Jackson isn't coming just to shake things up. They're not just going to get rid of guys to prove a point. So I think they're going to have to kind of ride it out here. Hoyer was talking yesterday about how this isn't a trading time of the season. It's really teams are hunkered down in their war rooms preparing for the draft, and then everyone will kind of reemerge and see where they're at in a couple of weeks.
We'll hear from Brett Jackson here in a couple of minutes, but before we go to break, I want to ask you, Patrick, about being in the clubhouse every day. I tell fans this all the time. You would think guys are throwing stuff around in the clubhouse before games during a losing streak, but I think it's been a very even-keeled type of chemistry really all season long.
Definitely, and I think that starts at the top with Dale Swaim. When we walk into his office after a game, just reading his body language, you can't tell if really the Cubs won or lost or not. We haven't seen him flip out yet. We haven't seen him really be short with the media, and the players really respect that. And that is not only known within that room, words getting around, with other teams. They talk to Cubs players, and they really respect the way he's maintained that kind of posture in the dugout, projecting calm every day, no matter what the scoreboard says.
More from Patrick coming up, and we'll hear from Brett Jackson when we come back. Cubs pregame live, getting you set for the Cubs and the Padres from Wrigley Field. Homestand before the Cubs hit the road once again on Friday. Chatting here with Patrick Mooney. We're going to hear from Brett Jackson in a second. But, Patrick, as we follow up with you, in terms of Anthony Rizzo, Brett Jackson, and any of the other Cubs prospects, it's very clear this organization wants them to be ready, if not over-ready, and to have an everyday spot available to them when they come to the big leagues.
Yeah, Len, the Cubs gave every single prospect in the organization, once they broke spring training, an individual player plan of kind of goals they had to meet, during this calendar year. And for Brett Jackson, there was several different things. Obviously, he wants to cut down his strikeouts, show better two-strike approach, but it was down to just the kind of angles he took base running-wise. I think it's significant that he's still here. The Cubs traded away a couple of recent first-round picks. Andrew Cashner's across the way, Tyler Colvin's in Coors Field, and now, Jackson's still here. He was untouchable in the Theo compensation talks, and they're looking at him as a big part of the future. It just probably won't be, tomorrow, even a couple weeks from now.
Patrick, great stuff as always. We look forward to reading your game recap on csnchicago.com. And Luke Stuckmeyer has headed to Iowa, down on the farm with Brett Jackson and the Iowa Cubs. The young Cub talks about waiting for his time to get to the north side and the pressure he will face once he gets the call, something he's actually looking forward to.
Baseball's not the same without pressure. It's not not as fun without pressure. So I think we take that pressure and we run with it. We thrive off of it. You know, I enjoy it. At times, yeah, you get down on yourself, and you can't. I've been down on myself too for having tough games, but that's how you make the adjustments. That's how you grow as a player. And you know, we want to be in Chicago. We want to do big things in Chicago, and we're not settling for anything less.
Good stuff from Brett Jackson. He's been hot lately with 3 extra base hits, a home run, and 2 triples over his last 4 games. Left-hander Eric Stoltz against right-hander Jeff Samardzija, a couple of Indiana natives on the mound today. Bob Brenly will join me. We'll get you set for the Cubs hosting the San Diego Padres next.
Chicago Cubs baseball on Comcast Sportsnet, part of the NBC Sports Group.
Wrigley's wind is more than a summer breeze. Yesterday, fly balls turned into souvenirs. Well, at least 4 of them did. And with victory blowing in on Memorial Day, hopefully these times are changing. The Cubs go for 2 in a row next on Comcast Sportsnet. You gotta love it when a plan comes together. It's Jeff Samardzija bobblehead day here at Wrigley Field, and guess who's on the mound? Yep, Ryan Dempster. No, Dempster's starting tomorrow. Samardzija and the Cubs today take on Eric Stoltz in the San Diego Padres, Game 2 of a 3-game matinee series. And hi again, everyone. Bob Brenly and Len Casper. It is not cool at the ballpark, but not nearly as hot. Wind blowing out again. And Bob, we're going to take a look at the Cubs' winless road trip offensively compared to what they did yesterday in 9 innings.
Well, it's an amazing comparison. You see the numbers on the left, the 11-game skid that you were talking about, and then yesterday You like to believe that yesterday's game is going to jumpstart the Cubs offense. They faced a soft tosser in Jeff Suppan. They're facing another soft tosser today.
And that is a left-hander, Eric Stoltz. Let's go down to the field now for our national anthem.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, please rise. Kindly remove your caps and join Wayne Messmer, accompanied by Gary Pressey at the Lowry organ, as they honor America with our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
Oh, what a beautiful sight yesterday as the Cubs snapped a 12-game losing streak, 14 hits and 4 home runs. They'll try to keep it going today behind Jeff Samardzija. Next.
Powered by your Chicago area and Northwest Indiana Lexus dealer, who invites you to test drive a Lexus today. Xfinity, your home for the most live sports. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Illinois, 75 years being right here in Illinois means no one's closer to your wellness. Experience wellness everywhere. Liberty Mutual Insurance. Responsibility. What's your policy? Toyota. Right now, you can get a lot for less at your local Toyota dealer. Official partner of the Chicago Cubs. The new wireless receiver from AT&T Uverse. Visit att.com/freeyourtv. Rethink possible. BMO Harris Bank, helping money make sense. BMO Harris Bank, NA member FDIC. And by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com.
Oh, what a day. This is the kind of day you want to dial up every single day for the rest of our lives on this planet.
I agree.
Let's get Bud Black's Padres Southwest starting lineup. Will Venable in the leadoff spot and in center. No Cameron Maben again, bothered by a sore wrist. DeNorfia. Alonso at an 0 for the first time in 11 games. Carlos Quentin in his second game of the season. Chase Headley is at 30, had 4 hits and 2 homers. John Baker's the catcher. Everett Cabrera at short. Alexi Amarista at second, and the pitcher Stoltz.
Take a look at the Cubs defensively this afternoon. Soriano, Johnson, and DeJesus left to right across the outfield. Once again, David DeJesus, the only left-handed bat in the lineup for the Cubs today. It'll be Joe Mather, Starlin Castro, Darwin Barney, and Jeff Baker. Third to first across the infield. Boy Hill behind the plate today for right-hander Jeff Samardzija. Coming off another really good outing against the Houston Astros last time out. Went 6 innings, gave up 6 hits and 2 runs, but both runs scored on that triple down the right field line by J.D. Martinez. You may recall David DeJesus and Darwin Barney came together. The ball got away. 2 runs scored. The only 2 runs Jeff gave up.
The man with the longest tenure among all current Major League umpires, Joe West, in his 35th season. He'll be behind the plate. Sam Holbrook, Andy Fletcher, and Rob Drake will handle the bases.
With that wind blowing out yesterday the way it was, the umpires were pretty much a non-factor. Batters couldn't wait to get in that box and swing the bats with the wind blowing out anywhere between 25 and 35 to 40 miles per hour.
1 strike on Venable. And he pops it up out into left. Soriano. Oh, that wind carrying that ball into left center. The wind is blowing again out of the southwest at 18 miles an hour, but the Flags were not doing that about 3 hours ago as batting practice started. In fact, Bob, there was a point around 10 a.m. this morning. The Flags weren't moving at all. There was no wind.
And the pitchers wish we would have started the game then, because it is definitely going to be a factor this afternoon. Not only the wind, but the sun as well. Sun should affect the guys on the left side of the field early in the ball game, and then as it moves toward the west, it will swing around and affect the guys on the right side of the field.
Strike on the right fielder Chris DeNorfia. Cubs with a lot of fans in Northwest Indiana, and I would imagine they're especially interested in today's pitching matchup. You've got Merrillville native Jeff Samardzija from Valparaiso as he strikes out DeNorfia. Eric Stoltz, starting for the Padres today, is from Plymouth, which is 42 miles almost due east of Valparaiso, and it's south of South Bend. Now Jeff Samardzija's college a little bit more famous than Eric Stoltz, who went to Bethel, and Jeff went to Notre Dame. Foul strike on Yonder Alonso. Had a rare, certainly lately, quiet day yesterday. 0 for 5. Snapped a career best 10-game hitting streak. Swing and a miss. 0-2. Called strike 3. That's a way to start a day like this with a 0 on the board. The Cubs are coming up against Stoltz when we come back. And we'll see how the Cubs line up. Brought to you by Southwest. DeJesus, Castro, Mather at the top. Soriano, Baker, and Johnson. The veterans in there against the lefty. Barney, Hill, and Samardzija at the bottom.
Quick look at the Padres defensively here this afternoon. Carlos Quentin, his second game back from knee surgery, will be out in left field. Will Venable in center. Chris Denorfia over in right field. It'll be Hedley, Cabrera, Amarista, and Alonso third to first across the infield. John Baker behind the plate today for left-hander Eric Stoltz. His first win of the season, his first win as a member of the Padres last time out against the New York Mets. ERA under 2. He's a finesse guy. Fastball sit in the high 80s, occasionally in the mid 80s. Throws a real good straight changeup and a slider, an occasional curveball to a right-handed hitter.
We got him on waivers from the White Sox on May 17th, so he's only been with the Padres for less than 2 weeks. He won his first 2 starts. Here's his 0-1 to David DeJesus, who tripled twice in the game yesterday. It's a strike, 0-2. This guy did not play Rocky Dennis in the movie Mask. Eric Stoltz, S-T-O-L-T-Z, did. Swinging bunt. Stoltz fields and throws and gets a nice play. And with 1 out, it'll be Starlin Castro as a 2-game home run streak.
Stay hot, Star. Real nice at bat in the ball game yesterday against Luke Gregerson. Threw him a steady diet of sliders until ultimately caught too much plate with the last one, and Starlin promptly knocked it into the back of the bleachers where it was tipped over onto Waveland Avenue.
Breaking ball, strike. This series in particular certainly has a pre-1988 feel at Wrigley. And all you had were day games. 120 on the holiday yesterday, 120 today, 120 tomorrow.
'89 on a 4-seamer up out of the zone from Eric Stoltz. That's about top end for him. He will occasionally touch 90, but keep an eye on that radar gun. He'll consistently pitch in the low to upper 80s with his fastball.
Didn't miss by much, maybe a little low. And it's 2-2.
Stoltz will generally use his fastball to set up off-speed pitches. He may show you a fastball off the plate inside. He may try to sink one off the plate away. We've seen him try to go up above the top of the strike zone with a four-seamer, but for him to be effective, he's got to keep that fastball out of the middle of the plate. Throw strikes with his off-speed pitches.
Third career start against the Cubs. His other two were in starts at Wrigley Field, and he lost them both. Broken bat bouncer to Cabrera, who throws to first.
The sneak attack fastball there. That bat split lengthwise just above Starlin's hands all the way out to the end.
It up with a boat paddle.
Ooh, I like it. Too big to be a tent peg.
Yeah, not a very good boat paddle, a little thin, but strike on Mather. With Castro moving up to the 2 spot, Mather has been in that 3 spot since Friday. He drills that one out into the gap in right center. It's a 2-out double for Mather.
Nice approach that time by Joe Mather. You can see where Baker sets up on the outside corner. Stoltz actually hits his spot, but Joe Mather all over it, drove it to that gap in right center field, and that's why he's in the lineup. Dale Swaim looking for some extra base hits, a little more slugging percentage from the top part of the order, and Joe Mather provides some help with that double into the gap in right center.
Soriano in the cleanup spot. Ryan LaHare coming off the bench today with Jeff Baker at first. Swing and a miss.
Based on what we saw yesterday against Alex Hinshaw, I wouldn't expect a slow breaking ball for a strike to Alfonso Soriano. He hit a curveball out onto Waveland Avenue as hard as we've seen him hit a ball this year. Expect Stoltz to go more with change-ups and the harder slider rather than the big slow curveball. We'll see.
He starts him off with back-to-back change-ups. Didn't get him to bite on that one. Talked about all the Padres injuries, including several starting pitchers. Tim Stauffer with a right elbow sprain. We've got a couple of guys done for the year. Corey Lupke, promising left-hander with Tommy John surgery earlier this month. Dustin Mosley had shoulder surgery in April. He's out for the rest of the season. They've used 9 different starting pitchers already. The pitch fouled off. And a great grab by a fan in the front row in the upper deck.
Nicely done. Best fielding fans in baseball.
Old foul behind the third base coach, Pat Listash. They're heading back to second, but there was not a middle infielder within 30 feet of the bag. And he got him. Like a changeup again. First strikeout for Stoltz. 2-out double. Joe Mather. No runs. We're scoreless after one. Former White Sox, Carlos Quentin, back from knee surgery, second game of the year. Makes a slider low and away. And his first at bat as a Padre in the opening inning yesterday, he doubled home a run. Would go 1 for 4 with the double, a walk and a run. The Yanks this one into the left field corner. It's going to carry him off the sidewall and rest on the warning track for a leadoff double. He hits the ball hard.
Boy, he does. He takes a vicious rip. He swings like he's mad at the baseball. Samardzija tries to jump ahead with an inside fastball, and it was Quentin with that lightning quick swing. Hooking line drive down into the left field corner for a leadoff double.
Brings up Chase Headley, who had quite a day yesterday. Tied his career high with 2 home runs. They were both right-handed against the lefty Travis Wood. He would add 2 more hits, a double and a single. And Bob, it was the 338th time a San Diego Padre has fallen 1 hit short of the cycle, according to RetroSheet.org. And the Padres have never had a player hit for the cycle, and no hitters. But it's the 243rd time a Padre has needed just a triple for the cycle. They started up back in 1969.
Mentioned in yesterday's ball game that Will Venable was 2 different times this year, 1 hit away from the cycle, once a homer, once a triple. He would be my favorite, Will Venable, to hit for the cycle because he's got good speed. He hits the ball in the gap. He obviously has power, hit a long home run in the game yesterday. But sometimes the guys that hit for the cycle are the most unlikely players on a roster.
Yeah. Swing and a miss on a splitter to make it 2-2. Yeah, if you're looking for the last cycle, you can't find it. I mean, Tony Gwynn, Dave Winfield, Ken Caminiti. I think of some really interesting choices for guys to hit for the cycle. And Gaylord Perry, Randy Jones, Jake Peavy. No hitters. Two on the way. He struck him out. Tag applied by Hill.
A splitter that time from Samardzija to get Headley. Good downward movement as that ball gets into the hitting zone. For all intent and purposes, the hitter sees fastball. Everything looks fastball. The arm angle, the arm speed. You can see that tumbling rotation on the pitch. About 8 miles per hour slower than his fastball, and gets Headley way out in front.
Was that Heady?
Headley.
Now the catcher, John Baker, getting his 14th start. He's been hot lately, hitting .391 over his last 8 games after starting the year 2 for 24. Like Jeff's got his good splitty working today.
Yep. You get that good, easy fastball. Then you describe pitchers sometimes he throws easy gas. That's what happens to me after Mexican food. But for Jeff Samardzija, it just doesn't look like he's trying hard, and that ball explodes out of his hand. 95, 96, that last one at 94 with a lot of movement. I mean, some pitchers have to use every fiber of their being to get the ball up there that quickly. Jeff just seems to be flipping it up there in the mid-90s.
The 1-2, that pitch was up, but fortunately Baker was just a half swing. Those are the types of pitches that get hit out of the ballpark, but not when you're ahead in the count necessarily.
You always get more defensive swings when they're, oh my. You talk about a distraction. Yeah, when you're ahead of that batter, he's got to be in a more defensive mode, a shorter, quicker swing, trying to protect that plate. Like that. Completely lost my train of thought there when I saw that. Zah.
Well, I did on your previous comments, so we're even. Baker, a former Florida Marlin from Northern California, playing for the San Diego Padres. Baker makes a catch, double play. So Jeff Baker gets John Baker and then doubles off Carlos Quentin to end the inning. Still no score early.
Depot doing more on defense. Line drive off the bat of John Baker right to Jeff Baker, who delivers on to Starlin Castro to complete the double play. And Jeff Samardzija out of the second inning.
So he will lead off the bottom of the second. Reed Johnson, Darwin Barney also due up. They're looking for the perfect place to entertain your best customers and guests this summer. Why not bring them to the ballpark? The new Veen Investment Suite. Suites can now accommodate anywhere from 15 to 55 guests and include food, beverage, and parking. To book your premier experience at the ballpark, visit Cubs.com/suites or call 773-404-4200. And they call the Bake Show in the clubhouse. Everybody's got to have a fun nickname. So I guess it's Bake Show time today with Jeff in the lineup. And that ball with the wind blowing should have been fouled by 20 rows, and it actually landed just on the field of play right next to that sidewall. This is the kind of day, if you're Chris DeNorfie or David DeJesus, you cannot give up on anything over there. Look at that. It was almost fair. I guess we'll have the cake show later, right? Chef Duff Goldman, pastry chef. The Food Network will conduct the stretch. Cabrera gets over to cut off that dribbler and throws out Jeff Baker.
You know, a lot of times, Len, from our perch here high above Wrigley Field, especially when the wind is out of the south or the west, we can't really feel it. We have to rely on the flags on top of the stadium, sometimes the trees out across the street from the bleachers, but you can tell it's howling today.
Reed Johnson in a starting role. He has been terrific in the pinch. Yesterday he picked up his 6th pinch hit already this season. He's 6 for 14. The major league leader currently in pinch hits is Mike Baxter of the Mets. He has 8. 2 down as Amarista takes care of Johnson.
That can be a double-edged sword, being a good pinch hitter. I told the story before. I heard a manager tell one of my teammates that you're too good for me to start you. I'll keep you on the bench. Use you as a secret weapon.
Sit me or trade me, right?
That's a very valuable skill for any player. And usually it's the veteran players who have been starters at some point in their career and now later in their careers more of a role player, part-time player, which certainly would be a good description for Reed Johnson, but has taken to it extremely well.
One and one on Darwin Barney, who homered yesterday, one of the 4 the Cubs hit. Now 1 and 2. Tomorrow it's supposed to cool off considerably with highs in the low to mid 60s. And it says we're going to have a north wind, and that would certainly change the complexion of a game considerably compared to what we've had here the first 2 days. So Anthony Bass and Ryan Dempster will pitch in those conditions tomorrow. Struggle here for Barney against lefties, and that is going to continue. Amarista backpedaling, and he makes a catch. That wind pushing everything toward the outfield today. We've completed 2. Pitchers are doing all right early. 0-0.
8:20 right here at Wrigley Field. The first 10,000 fans at the ballpark will receive a Cubs drawstring bag, compliments of the MLB Network. For more information and to purchase tickets, visit Cubs.com.
Bottom three now in the Padre order, starting with Everth Cabrera, the shortstop. He's a switch hitter. Talked about it yesterday. The Padres again are for sale. Like Jeff Morad and his group. And we're going to buy the club over a several-year period, but in spring training, Morad dropped his application to purchase a team, as Samardzija will get Cabrera. So John Moore is the owner now looking for another buyer. Saw this at PGA golfer Phil Mickelson has joined one of the 5 groups in the mix at this point. 4 grandchildren of Walter O'Malley, former longtime owner of the Dodgers, involved in that particular group. Tony Gwynn, the Hall of Famer, a part of another group bidding for the Pods. Amarista with a hard hit grounder. Darwin Barney will take care of it.
Really think Phil Mickelson can afford it? It's getting to that point where the only people who can afford to own professional sports franchises are guys who played professional sports.
Right. Well, he was quoted saying he's not into the day-to-day operations and running an organization, but really looks at having relationships with the players, get them in the community, things like that. And I'm sure if the Mickelson group does buy the Padres, there'll be a lot of players lined up to play 18 with him.
Oh,
get
yeah.
a few golf tips too.
Put a water hazard out behind second base, sand trap in left field. I mean, if you can put a hill in center field in Houston, why not a sand trap in left field in San Diego?
Now financially, this deal, Bob, actually could work out better for the current owner, John Moores, because they have a new huge television contract. So we'll see. Stoltz is out. That's a strikeout on a foul tip. First time through the order, 4 strikeouts for Samardzija. About catchers, Steve Clevenger activated from the disabled list, coming back from the oblique injury, and Blake Lally optioned back to AAA Iowa. And Clevenger is going to get a pretty good opportunity to play Not in the lineup today against the lefty, but at some point he'll probably get most of the starts. Certainly before Giovanni Soto comes back. Wellington Castillo also on the DL.
Yeah, we could see Clevenger in the ball game today. The Padres have 6 right-handed relief pitchers, and Clevenger, being a left-handed hitter, might be called upon to come in at some point and swing that bat.
Here is today's starting catcher, Coy Hill. Outside for ball 1.
Well, this could be a big day, partner, offensively for a couple of the Cubs. The man at the plate, Coy Hill, has yet to hit a home run in his career from the right side, and the guy in the on-deck circle is due.
And Coy Hill pops out to Amarista. Get Chicago Sports News Nightly on GMC Sportsnet Central. Coming up tonight at 9:30, Luke Stuckmeyer goes down on the farm with Brett Jackson. Join Chris Bowden and Mark Shanowski for GMC Sportsnet Central tonight at 9:30, only on Comcast Sportsnet. Fans' best friend. Here is Samardzija.
Here we go.
Hard hit grounder right to Headley.
I told him about that. Those ground balls rarely leave the park. Get a little elevation, Jeff. Let's go. Hit it hard, unfortunately, right at Headley.
Maglio Ordonez will retire officially on Sunday in Detroit. I guess they're going to call it Maglio Ordonez Day in Comerica Park. With that big pennant clinching home run in the 2006 championship series, he's going to retire with over 2,100 hits. Late in his career, just couldn't get over that injury bug.
Had a great career nonetheless. One of the best right-handed hitters during his days in the game.
Played for 2 teams, White Sox and the Tigers, 97 to 2011, and finishes his career at 309. Pretty good. DeJesus grounds out. Stultz has faced 1 over the minimum and has allowed just 1 hit. He and Samardzija have been very good early.
Dos Locos Tacos from Taco Bell.
Time now for today's AT&T Mobility Trivia question. Maybe not quite time for today's AT&T Mobility question.
Just seconds away. Here it is.
That's what we like to call a tease. Can you name the 4 pro sports teams to draft Dave Winfield? Dave Winfield, currently an executive vice president and senior advisor with the San Diego Padres.
Well, I think he made the right choice. Hall of Famer.
Yeah, I'd say so. Well, and I brought up this point before. I really feel if Michael Jordan had had a hitting coach like Dave Winfield, somebody who had the same physical gifts, the long arms, the long frame, he may have turned out to be a pretty good ball player.
5 punch outs for Samardzija. Strike to Denorfia. I want to send out congratulations to the Lake Forest Harriers, who won the Illinois Youth Rugby State Championship yesterday. Stephen Novak, a part of that team. Stephen, a senior at Grays Lake North High School. You ever played rugby?
No.
Neither have I, but seems like a pretty tough sport. I don't think Dave Winfield was drafted by a rugby team, was he?
Not to the best of my knowledge.
They probably would have been good at it. Samardzija reaches out, tosses to Baker. The conditions haven't been terribly different from yesterday, but these 2 pitchers are certainly hitting their spots early on.
And hitting your spots is a lot more important today for Eric Stoltz than for Jeff Samardzija. It's important for every pitcher, but Samardzija's got a little more stuff. He can get away occasionally with missing his spot because his fastball sits in the mid-90s with some movement.
Broken bat, soft liner, and Alonso is now 0 for 7 to start this series. Still 0-0 in the 4th. Keeping that infield dirt as smooth as possible on this hot Tuesday afternoon.
Very creative headgear there, sir. Good thinking. It's another one of those days here at Wrigley Land. If you're sitting in the sun, it might be a little warm today, but boy, I'm telling you what, just absolutely beautiful in the shade. Nice cool breeze.
Sharp dressed man right there. Can't legislate fashion, I guess.
Unless you're MLB.
Starlin Castro becomes the Cubs' first leadoff man to reach.
We'll see how aggressive Dale Swain wants to be on the base pass today. John Baker behind the plate, only one caught stealing in 11 attempts this year. That's been a real sore spot for the Padres. Opposing teams, when they get the right guys on, have been able to run at will.
Ball one to Mather. Castro tied for third in the majors in steals with 14. Emilio Bonifacio is currently on the DL with Miami, has 20. His teammate Jose Reyes has 15. Body language from Stoltz indicated he thought that was a strike, but it wasn't. 2-0.
That's the way a pitcher can tell the umpire, I think that was a good pitch, without saying anything, without waving his arms, without causing an argument. Just hold your pose out there on the mound an extra tick or two. That lets the home plate umpire know that I thought that pitch was pretty good.
With Soriano on deck. Just to tell you about the journey for a lot of big league players. Eric Stoltz was drafted in the 15th round by the Dodgers 10 years ago. Bethel College in Indiana, just outside of South Bend. Mishawaka, Indiana. And he didn't just sign with the Dodgers and go right to the big leagues. He has had homes in Great Falls and Vero Beach, and Jacksonville, Columbus, Las Vegas, Albuquerque, Inland Empire. Spent some time in Japan in 2010. And then you get here, Bob, and guys generally don't say, "Oh, I've made it." They say, "I want to stay here." One thing to get here, it's another thing to actually stay in the big leagues.
And I would assume that Eric Stoltz appreciates every moment he's at the major league level, maybe a little bit more so than some of the guys who do sign as a high draft pick and breeze their way through a minor league system, or in some cases completely skip the minor leagues. When you've ridden that many buses over the course of your career, you appreciate every minute you're in a big league uniform.
First two have reached. It's walk number one for Stoltz.
Former big league pitcher Jim Bouton, who wrote the controversial at the time book Ball 4, had a great quote. All this time I thought I had a grip on the baseball, when it turns out it was the other way around.
Well, Coy Hill can speak to that. Talked about Coy was toiling away at Double-A, Pensacola in the Reds organization. Coy's got a young family at home. You're trying to figure out, should they come with me? Should they stay at home in Wichita? And you're just kind of biding your time, wondering if it's time to hang it up. But by and large, most guys will just keep playing this game until somebody won't give you a job. And then the real world hits. Is 1 and 2, 5-3 double play. 2 down just like that with Mather at second. Boy, that ball was hit a little harder. It could have been 3.
The Padres had the right guy running at the plate in Alfonso Soriano, who just really has trouble getting out of that batter's box and down that first base line. Headley with the tag on Starlin Castro as he went by, and then an easy throw on to first to complete the double play.
If Baker can come up with a 2-out RBI here as he takes a strike. Well, you've talked many times about how fortunate you were, and you put yourself in the right position when you retired as a player. You became a broadcaster. And obviously the money today, a lot of these guys are a lot more comfortable financially when they do hang it up. But in a lot of cases, you got a 33, 34-year-old guy who has the rest of his life in front of him, thinking, okay, now what?
Now what? No logical plan for you're going to be gainfully employed in the future. And I don't know the statistics, but I know a lot of people personally who, after they did retire from the game without a plan B, went into severe depression for a long time.
It is a fantasy world in a lot of ways. Well, the Cubs had a great chance but could not get a run in. Still scoreless as we go to the 5th. Free food. If the Cubs get a base hit in the 5th inning, fans with a base hit for Burritos game card win a free entree.
Not a lot of bats in this Padres lineup that really jump up and scare you, but the guy stepping in the box right now is definitely one of them. Only his second game back off the disabled list. Hit the ball with authority a couple times yesterday. A ringing double his first at bat. Oh my goodness.
Carlos Quentin gone. A home run. Boy, he has not showed any rust. It's coming off the DL. 2 for 2 today. Both hits for the Padres, a double and a home run.
He didn't even let me get it out of my mouth. Definitely the most dangerous hitter in this Padres lineup right now. And Jeff Samardzija just tries to jump ahead with a fastball in the middle of the plate, and Quentin is all over it. Didn't need a lot of help from the wind on that one, but put it in the back of the bleachers in left center field.
Quentin's first home run as a Padre. But if I may borrow a line from the great Harry Carey, 1 run will not win this game.
Oh, boy, if you want to know where the sweet spot is on a bat, it's right there.
Two and 1 to Headley. Samardzija's 2-2. There's a fastball low. Baker on deck. Lifted in the air, deep left center, but playable for Johnson. To answer the AT&T Mobility trivia question, Dave Winfield was drafted by 4 pro sports teams. And I believe 3 different sports. Yep. Padres, the Vikings of the NFL. He's from the Twin Cities. The Atlanta Hawks of the NBA and the Utah Stars of the ABA. First and only athlete to be drafted in 3 of the 4 major sports leagues. Baker's out, 1 unassisted. Just to give you a little more on Dave Winfield, who's from St. Paul, Minnesota, and would later briefly play for the Twins. 22 years, 3,110 hits, 7 Gold Gloves, 12 times he was an All-Star. I don't think it's a stretch to say one of the greatest athletes to ever put on a baseball uniform.
And one of the first athletes to establish a charitable foundation. Received the Branch Rickey Award, the Roberto Clemente Award, the John Buck O'Neill Award. Very active in the community.
And he is currently a senior advisor and executive vice president with the Padres. And he went right, I mean, we're talking about the long journey for a lot of guys. He went right from the University of Minnesota to the big leagues.
His long journey involved a cab ride to the airport.
Two and 2 on Everth Cabrera. shallow left, and it drops. And Mather with a slip, and now Cabrera will get to second base. He was going to stop at first, but Mather just couldn't find his footing.
With the wind blowing out the way it is here, Wrigley, Soriano playing very deep in left field. Starlin Castro was shading up the middle a little bit. He couldn't get there. Joe Mather from his third base position couldn't get there, and unfortunately after the barehanded play he slipped, giving Cabrera an opportunity to move into scoring position with 2 outs.
So it is a double for Cabrera. They have 3 hits today. They've all gone for extra bases. Marista bailed out there and took it way outside, 1-1.
A real disjointed play that time. Castro had broken in behind Cabrera at second base, but Samardzija elected to just hold his foot on the rubber and wait till Castro backpedaled into a defensive position. In the meantime, the hitter stepped out of the box and Samardzija delivered. That was basically a free pitch, but he couldn't hit the zone. Nine times out of 10, if an infielder loses his position in a pickoff attempt, the pitcher will just step off the rubber and everybody starts over again. But instead, Samardzija just stayed on the rubber and waited for Castro to get back in a defensive position.
And Cabrera just stole third, and Samardzija never moved. I don't know if I've ever seen a play quite like that. Usually the pitcher will step off.
Now with Joe Mather playing deep at third base, maybe took his eye off the action for just a moment, and Cabrera heads up base running, able to move on to third.
Swing and a miss. And a high heat, 2-2.
You do have a base open and the pitcher on deck, but Samardzija would like to put Amarista away right here and have Stoltz leading off the next inning.
And he got him to end the inning. Leadoff homer by Quentin, and the Padres strike first here in the 5th. themselves down 1-0. We have chronicled over the past week or so their problems against left-handed starters, and it has been a problem this season. Into action today, the Cubs are 1-9 versus left-handed starting pitchers. Breaking ball is high, and 2-0. Padres have the worst road record in the majors, 5-17 away from Petco Park. They are 1-7 on this current trip. Been a whole lot better at home. They are scoring more on the road, but giving up a lot more. Big swing by Reed Johnson, fouls it back.
You mentioned all the injuries that the Padres have suffered, especially to their starting rotation. In that respect, a little bit like the Cubs last year. You recall when Andrew Cashner went down after his first start, Randy Wells went down very early in the season, and the Cubs just didn't have the pitching depth to sustain those kind of injuries, and I think the Padres are a little bit in the same boat.
I feel it'll get down for Reed Johnson. And he's going to stop at first. The Cubs put the first two men on in the last inning, but came up empty. Bob, as a manager, when you had the 6 guy get on, the 7 hitters up, with the 8 and 9 guys behind him, how does that affect your ability to make things happen here?
I always felt like you still had to continue to push the envelope. Joe Torre said it a long time ago. Somebody asked him the difference between managing in the American League and the National League. He said in the National League you feel like you have to force something to happen before you get to that 9 spot. I thought that was a pretty good idea, depending on the personnel that you have available at the bottom of your order. I never really viewed the hit and run as a defensive mechanism. I always thought it was an offensive mechanism. A lot of teams use the hit and run just to stay out of the double play. I always felt that if you had guys who can execute a hit and run, it is a tremendous offensive play. You've got a batter that can move that ball to the right side of the field where the hole is. You end up with a lot of first and third situations, and I don't care if it's your 8 hitter or your 3 hitter. You like those situations with runners at first and third. So for me personally, I like to see some action down here at the bottom of the order.
Stoltz has been getting behind hitters here. Like to make them pay for that. 2-1. Fastball count. And he changed him up.
I don't know if there's a predictable fastball count with Eric Stoltz on the mound. He's going to use his off-speed pitches just as much as he uses his fastball.
Baker really pounced on that ball to keep Reed Johnson at first. Darren Balsley, the Padres pitching coach. And the 3-1 to Darwin Barney, left field corner. Johnson's going to be sent. He will score to tie the game.
Darwin Barney had to alter his swing right there, really getting long through the zone, able to keep it fair down into the left field corner, and Reed Johnson off on contact. And notice Reed Johnson's not looking to right field. He's trusting his third base coach Pat Listash to watch the play out there in the left field corner. Just put your head down and run as hard as you can. Trust in your coaches, and that time Reed able to score from first base.
Only the 12th double for Barney. His career high last year. He hit 23 doubles. To right as Barney will tag. DeNorfia makes a catch, and his throw is way off the mark and late. Good job by Coy Hill. Now it's Samardzij's job to find a way to make contact and get Barney to the plate.
Ball's in the air to right field. Darwin Barney watches the play and then takes the opportunity to advance on to third base, challenging the arm of Chris DeNorfia in right field. Coy Hill with an obvious effort to move that ball to the right side of the field. That time a fly ball deep enough to move a teammate to third base with one out. Get big, Jeff. Come on.
It's his bobblehead day. See if he can come up with a big hit. Infield in. And a 1-0. 1-1. Last time out, Eric Stoltz at New York. 5 innings, gave up 1 unearned run. That was it. He took a shot off his pitching arm near the left triceps in the 4th inning. He would come out after 5. There was some concern he might not be able to make this start. He actually went through a 68-minute rain delay after the 2nd as well. It has bounced back. 2-2.
And then we talk about going up the ladder. When a guy swings at a high fastball, the pitcher throws the next one a little bit higher and then a little bit higher. This was going down the stairs here. He got Samardzij to swing at a couple of changeups down below the knees and then ultimately bounced one in the dirt, seeing how low Jeff would go. And you can expand that strike zone in all different directions if you get a free swinger at the plate.
Barney at third and a 2-2 to Samardzij way outside to run it full. DeJesus is on deck.
You see most of the pitches down at the bottom of the zone away from Jeff Samardzij.
And a base hit. He cracked his bat and he gives the Cubs the lead.
One case where the drawn-in infield really hurt the Padres, trying to cut that run off at home plate. Samardzij breaks his bat and hits a little floater just behind where a shortstop would normally be positioned, and the Cubs have a 1-run lead.
Still only one out. And DeJesus skies it foul out of play. He is 0 for 2. Came in with a 7-game hitting streak. One at first, second, and the other at first. It goes 3-6-3 to end the inning. But the Cubs grab the lead with 2 runs. And it's now 2-1. Presented by Advocate Healthcare on Saturday, June 23rd. Limited tickets are available for $150 each and include a t-shirt, photograph, baseball, and lunch. Guest tickets are also available for $15 each. All proceeds benefit Chicago Cubs charities. To purchase tickets, visit Cubs.com.
Coming up after Horseshoe Casino Cubs post-game live. Don't miss Chicago Tribune Live on Comcast Sportsnet. Tribune writers, sports stars, and celebrities join host David Kaplan to discuss today's hottest sports topics and set the table for the night ahead. Chicago Tribune Live presented by Captain Morgan tonight after post-game live on Comcast Sportsnet. Fans' best friend.
On Jeff Samardzija bobblehead day, he has a 2-1 lead into the 6th, and in fact he gave the Cubs the lead with a broken bat single. Remember, he tied the game against the White Sox a couple of starts ago with a big base hit. One and one on Stoltz. Will be followed by Venable and Denorfia. Stoltz gets a hold of one out of the left center. Well, he missed a home run by about a foot. That hit the wall right below the basket, and he bangs into second base, and a very awkward looking slide. Well, a career .216 hitter coming in, and that's a big hit. A leadoff double. Could have been worse.
Yeah, could have been about 8 inches higher. That fastball up out of the strike zone at 94. Stoltz gets the barrel of the bat on it, gets tremendous carry, hits between the top of the door and the bottom of the basket, and this is that awkward slide.
Way too late.
Ooh.
Really jammed his left foot and leg into the bag. He's real used to sliding into second.
Probably not.
And Stoltz is going to have to stay at second as Venable grounds out to Castro.
In that situation, you normally see a left-handed hitter really make an effort to roll over and hit that ground ball to the right side. It almost looked like Venable was trying to hit that ground ball to the left side. With Castro cheating up the middle a little bit, there was a big hole on that side of the field, but your primary objective as a hitter in that situation is to move that runner to third base.
Samardzija hasn't given up a single today. He's given up 3 doubles and a home run. 2-0. Left center, Soriano makes a catch. No, did he catch it? He did. It'll be an easy double play as Stoltz just touched home plate. He was gambling that that ball was going to drop. And Soriano just saved a run. And in fact, they get 2 out of it. Nicely done to end the inning.
seat you want and the freedom to choose where you want to sit. StubHub is the official fan-to-fan ticket marketplace of the Chicago Cubs. For more information, visit Cubs.com/StubHub.
Stop it.
Well, Stoltz showed his inexperience on the bases with his slide into second, and all kinds of confusion going on right there. I mean, once you pass the point of no return, you might as well just keep going and hope that ball drops or it comes out of Soriano's glove. But Alfonso was able to make a nice diving, sliding catch and throw on to second base for the double play to complete the inning.
Stoltz got out there a little late after running the bases to end that inning. Gorgeous day here in Chicago.
I think we might see a few more double plays like that before the end of the season, Len. You know, Alfonso Soriano's reputation is that of a subpar defender in left field, overly cautious at times, and in the past teams have tried to take advantage of that. But he, as we've said many, many times through the early going of the 2012 season, a much improved defender.
So 2-1. The Cubs will try to create some space here. 2, 3, and 4 coming up. One ball, one strike. High pop up on the infield. This ball may end up in the outfield grass. It does. Caught by Cabrera on the back pedal. Has reached twice, double and a walk. And the pitch. Fouled straight back on the ground. Everything else later tonight around the bigs. Homer Bailey and Charlie Morton, Reds and Pirates. Pirates a win yesterday to get to 500. And only 3 games back of first place Cincinnati. On the way to Mather. Another foul. How about the Braves? They've lost 8 in a row. Jake Westbrook and Randall Delgado tonight as they host the Cardinals. Headley to his glove side. 2 outs. Braves have given up 7 or more in 4 consecutive games. Here's Alfonso Soriano with a defensive play of the game. No question about that. A Coors Light freeze can.
Well, last year there's a good chance he'd have misjudged this ball. Dived for it late. It would have got by him for extra bases, but got a good jump, a good read. Never took his eye off the ball. Tracked it all the way into the glove, and then throws on to Darwin Barney to complete the double play. Nicely done.
One and one to Soriano. Aramis Ramirez last night tied the game and then knocked in the go-ahead run as the Brewers beat the Dodgers 3-2 in LA. Michael Fiers and Nathan Eovaldi later tonight.
Get your programs. Tell the players without a program. What a weird injury for Jonathan Lucroy. They're going to be without their starting catcher for up to a month, maybe a little bit longer.
A hand injury. This is suitcase fell on him. He was reaching under the hotel room bed for a sock. Ugh. And his wife had shifted a suitcase and it fell onto his hand.
I would suggest nobody ever reach your hand underneath a hotel bed
for
any reason.
Yeah, it's a good.
Get new socks.
Deep center field for Alfonso Soriano. Gone just to the right of the batter's eye. That makes it 3-1. 7 homers on the year, all over his last 13 games.
In some kind of hot streak with the power swing. I mentioned it several times over the last week. It all has coincided with that bad left knee. Limping around the bases on his home run trot, but it certainly has not affected his swing whatsoever.
Hard hit grounder. Baker thrown out by Cabrera. A little extra breathing room with a 2-run lead as we head off to the 7th. Jeff Samardzija into the 7th, leading 3-1. Alonso came in red hot. He's cooled off a bit.
Big inning for Jeff Samardzija here. Ideally, you get through the middle of this Padres order where all the danger is. Hopefully, won't have to see him again today.
This is the 7th time in his first 10 starts he's gone at least 6 innings. That's a really good sign for a guy who is jumping into this role full time at this level here in 2012. Swing and a miss. Alonso 0 for 3 and 0 for 5 yesterday. Seven strikeouts for Samardzija. His career high is 9. Chef Duff Goldman, pastry chef and Food Network personality, and owner of Charm City Cakes, coming up with our 7th inning stretch. Carlos Quentin has been that thorn for Jeff Samardzija. And guess what? He's a triple away from the cycle. And Padre fans have heard that a lot over the past 43 years.
And it seems like the hottest hitter on the other team gets the easiest pitches to hit. A little cutter that just fluttered up there over the inside part of the plate to Carlos Quentin. He's not missing anything in the strike zone right now.
Ball 1 to Headley. Probably a second round pick like in 2005. Quentin not going anywhere, coming off knee surgery. Short lead at first. And that one a little too high. 3-1.
I've had a little fun with Headley's name in this series, but truth of the matter is he's a real good ball player, Len. He fields his position well down there at third. A very consistent offensive player. Gives you a little sock from that left side of the plate.
That's a strike. Samardzija has done what you need to do on a day like this. He hasn't walked anybody. He went 3-1 to Headley, now has run it full. Let's see what Bud Black has in mind here with Quentin. Samardzija's missing bats today. Quentin not going, and there's ball 4. So the first free pass by Samardzija. James Russell and Randy Wells jogging out to the bullpen. Doesn't mean they're necessarily going to get up just yet. Here's Baker, the catcher. Brad Brock quickly cranking it up in the Padre bullpen. So here we go. 2 on, 1 out. And Baker, who's 0 for 2, and he hits a ground ball. Mather can't get it. Quinton will come around and score. It's now 3-2. A seeing eye single for John Baker as he gets his 5th RBI of the year.
Talk about taking what a pitcher gives you. Look where this pitch is. That's off the plate away, and John Baker just slaps it through that left side of the infield. Once again, a little bit of a shift on for the Cubs. Starlin Castro shading a couple of steps up the middle of the field, and ball gets past Joe Mather to left field for an RBI base hit.
So it's Cabrera who has doubled and stolen a base. 1 for 2. And he asks for time.
Cabrera will be swinging. Only 1 walk on the season in 43 at bats. Just does not believe too much in the free pass. He wants to swing that bat.
Shows bunt and takes a pitch away for ball 1. Our AT&T UVerse multi-view. A run in. We got Headley at second, Baker at first. And Samardzija will throw to second. Safe. Out at first. Boy, the Cubs may have gotten a break at first. I think it was a right call at second. Bud Black is going to come out and argue. It looked like Cabrera may have beaten that relay throw. Dale Swaim's going to come out. How about this? Both managers are going to argue calls.
Well, it looks like the high throw to second did take Castro off the bag. Yeah, he's off the base when he caught the ball. Unfortunately, didn't come down on the bag.
And why that's the right call, Bob, and not the neighborhood call is the throw itself pulled him off the base, right?
Right.
I mean,
if that throw is chest high right in front of Starlin Castro, they probably give you the out at second base. But
boy, that play at first didn't look to be that close, really. Let's see what Bud Black is arguing about. He'll take it. We don't want replay. Not today.
Offsetting arguments.
Oh, that's a huge call. It could have been bases loaded, 1 out.
And it looks like Bud Black is now going to go with his secret weapon off the bench. Jesus Guzman, we mentioned the last night, 5 for 11 as a pinch hitter this year. He's driven in 5 runs.
The at bat of the game in terms of a high leverage spot for the Cubs bullpen was Guzman pinch hitting in the 7th with a couple of runners on. Cubs leading by a run, and Sean Camp struck him out. They get out of that inning. And I would say this is the at bat of the game for Samardzija, because a base hit from Guzman would probably give the Padres the lead. So Marja right now clinging to a 1-run advantage. There it is. 0-2. Good block by Hill. You got the tying run now. Chase Headley at third base.
Boy, what a good block that time by Coy Hill. That was a vicious looking wild pitch about to happen. Able to get over there in front of it. Rattles off the glove, off his right arm, up off of his chest protector, but keeps it right in front.
Chase on a slider way out of the zone to get out of the inning with limited damage. To Captain Morgan's 7th inning stretch.
City Cakes East and West, Chef Duff Goldman.
All right, fans, let me hear ya. A 1, a 2, a 3. Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jack. I don't care if I ever get back, so let's root for the Cubbies. If they don't win, it's a shame. For it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game. Let's get some runs.
Second base. Chef Duff Goldman with the 7th inning stretch, and you brought us some treats.
I sure did.
What did you bring us, Chef?
These are Rogers Brothers blueberry muffins.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, these are the best blueberries on the planet.
All right.
And I grew up in Boston, so that's saying a lot. Saying, like, you know, for me to say that there's a blueberry out there that's better than a Maine blueberry, that's a delicious blueberry right there.
Okay, well, we will enjoy them after the inning.
So how we doing? What do we do?
Leading 3-2.
3-2. I never played baseball. I know nothing about the sport.
Well, you know there are 3 outs in an inning, right? You knew when to sing.
I knew when to
That's
sing because the scoreboard said, Duff, sing now.
So you're in town for a March of Dimes charity event.
I'm in town for the March of Dimes. Healthy babies makes healthy adults. You know, that's good. Nobody's eating. Oh, you guys have to work, right?
Yeah. Might have to say something here.
We're going to eat them.
If you come back next half inning, all that will be left is the paper.
Oh, where is it? Where is it? Where is it?
It's going to be caught. by Yonder Alonso.
Come on, let me say it. Let me say it. Just a bit outside.
Tell us.
How did I do?
What's your favorite? What's the favorite thing to make? The best thing that you make?
Oh, I mean, just like in general, like all food, everything.
But what do you like to eat that you make? What's your favorite?
I got to tell you, man, I really do make the best ribeye steak. My steaks are ridiculous. I've argued with Bobby Flay about my steaks. I've argued with Guy Fieri about my steaks. I make the best steaks. You know why? I fry them in butter. I don't grill them.
Okay.
Grilling's for chumps.
I can see why you argued with Bobby Flay now.
Yeah, he didn't like it when I said that.
Okay, so the steak for dinner, and then for dessert, your favorite is what?
I got to say,
Barney with a base hit. And he's on his way to second with a one-out double. Couple of doubles for Darwin Barney. All right, so you finish the meal with what?
I got to say either a panna cotta or a creme brulee or a sorbet. Panna cotta, creme brulee, and sorbet are the three things that can really define whether a pastry chef is worth the salt. No pun intended. Get it? Salt. Pastry chef. Come on, that was good.
I like it. Well, I go for the bread pudding.
Bread pudding?
Big fan of.
Okay. Now,
That's
do you
not
like
terribly
it?
difficult to make, is it?
Well, no. To do it right, when you want a lot of custard in the bottom, when you have a lot of custard, and then the bread's kind of floating on top. Think about like do you like your bread pudding with like French toast? Do you like it with challah? Do you like it with just regular bread?
All sounds good to me. If I see bread and pudding in the same line, I'm in. That's all I need. Bob, what's your favorite dessert?
I usually skip dessert, Len, and go straight to the after-dinner drinks.
You don't skip dessert. I've eaten with you.
You know, calories, you got to be selective where you get your calories.
You do. So it's either the what's the beer here at the park? Cold
beer, yeah.
Cold
beer, yes.
Cold beer. Okay.
Big fans of cold beer.
Cold beer at Wrigley. So we made a cake of Wrigley Field, and we got to stand right on top of Murphy's right over there. And when they were filming, I got to point the cake at the camera in the same direction as the field. So I had the home plate was back here where my hand is. And you could see the cake was like just a perfect model of the field. It was fantastic.
Nice.
Really cool. I love this field. I mean, Fenway's cool too. It's just me.
Should have quit while you were ahead, Duff.
God.
And a balk has been called on Eric Stoltz.
How about that?
Could be significant as Barney will now take third.
Duff, you want to explain the balk rule to our fans?
I was just going to say, what is a balk? I've never heard of that. What is that? What happened?
Well, the pitcher did something to intentionally deceive the runner, and the umpire caught it. So the runner gets to advance 90 feet.
A little flinch there.
Yep.
Wait, so like he was about to throw it to because he was leading the base or something like that?
The batter, or the runner rather, just took his lead off, and the pitcher did something funny out there on the mound that's against the rules. He cheated.
How do you cheat in baseball? Come on.
Oh,
happens
let me
every
count
inning.
the ways.
All right, Chef, we're gonna eat the blueberry muffins here as we go to break. And thanks for stopping by.
Thanks
man.
for having me.
It.
Thank you. This is
right.
really cool. What an honor, guys.
Pitching change, a Honda call to the pen, and we'll be back. Right-hander Brad Brock.
Pretty good numbers across the board for Brad Brock, with the exception of the base on balls. 14 walks in only 16 innings pitched to go against the 21 punch-outs he's recorded.
We've got some changes as well. Andy Perino coming into play second, it looks like. No, he's going to play short. Okay, because yesterday, yeah, you had Perino at short and Cabrera at second.
Hey fans, visit the Captain Morgan Club at Wrigley Field with more than 40 flat screens, great food, and Wrigley's largest outdoor patio. Come celebrate a Cubs win and join us for the Captain Morgan Club post-game party featuring great music and Wrigley's friendliest staff. For more information, including specials and private party options, call 773-404-4750.
To Chef Duff Goldman for stopping by. Interesting. Good muffins. Blueberry muffins are excellent. That gets by, and the Cubs will get a run as Barney scores. 4-2.
Nothing tricky, just a fastball inside part of the plate. Very slow reaction by John Buck that time, or John Baker rather. Ball gets all the way to the bricks, allowing Darwin Barney to walk home with a run.
Swing and a miss on a changeup. 2-2 count. So the double by Barney. The balk got him to third. The passed ball. Are you going to have to go into the back room and explain to Chef what a passed ball is?
No.
Swing and a miss, 2 down. Well, at least he admitted it.
Yeah. He had me right up until that Fenway comment.
Here's Jeff Samardzija getting a nice hand from the crowd. Go ahead RBI single in the 5th. Worked out of a jam in the 7th. Cubs get that run right back.
Well, I have seen some of Chef Duff Goldman's cake creations. They're just absolutely unbelievable. They had one of a baby elephant that I swear could just run off into the jungle somewhere. One of a pair of sneakers with the laces undone. It looks like a pair of smelly sneakers with the laces undone.
I hope it doesn't taste like that.
No, I don't think so. Okay. Very creative.
Good.
All right, Jeff, this might be your last chance today, buddy.
The 3-1 taken for ball 4. Tough day for David at the plate. 0 for 3. Grounded into a double play his last time up. Ball through for a base hit, an 8-game hitting streak. Samardzija is going to put on the brakes.
as pitch tracks, you'll see that David DeJesus goes just a little bit out of the zone here. It guides that one back up the middle of the field for his first hit of the afternoon to keep his hit streak intact.
Balsley coming out. So they'll talk it over.
Padres do have a left-hander warming up in the bullpen. I think that's more just in case Dale Swain would send up a left-handed pinch hitter for possibly Joe Mather, Jeff Baker, somewhere upcoming in the Cubs order. Just to make sure he's got a lefty ready in the event Dale Swain goes that direction.
2-0 to Castro. Slider strike. Slider tapped foul. 2-2. Rich Rupp from the Cubs clubhouse staff is the bat boy once again because the Cubs snapped their 12-game losing streak yesterday, and looks like he may have a job right next to the dugout tomorrow too if the Cubs hang on here. Way outside, 3-2. Fox's Ken Rosenthal just tweeting that Roy Halladay has gone to the DL, could be out 6 to 8 weeks. Bad news for the Phillies. Runners go. Castro hits it up in the air. Right center, Venable. And the inning is over. Cubs get one, however. Darwin Barney scores to make it 4-2.
field to close out their homestand with the Padres. Coverage begins at 12:30 with Subaru Cubs pregame live. Cubs Padres tomorrow afternoon at 12:30. Only on your home for Cubs baseball, Comcast Sportsnet, fans' best friend.
Jeff Samardzija goes into the 8th. Face Perino, Venable, and Denorfia. Working once again with a 2-run lead. Well, we'll be in San Francisco this weekend. Barry Bonds talked to the media for about a half hour yesterday as he attended the Diamondbacks Giants game, and it sounds like in the next couple of years he would like to rejoin the Giants organization as an instructor, probably. It'll be a 4-game series Friday through Monday at AT&T Park. Here's Perino's first at bat of the day, and he fouls into the upper deck behind third base. Samardzija only walking 1 to this point. That pitch count's in decent shape. This will be number 90 on the day. Sinkers outside.
Right, especially through that early part of the game, other than the fact that Jeff was striking out a lot of Padres hitters, they were attacking him early in the count. A lot of quick outs. That pitch count in great shape.
Lined into right. And a high hop as DeJesus will get it back in. Samardzija's been really good against the top of the order for the Pods today. 1 through 3. They have combined to go 0 for 9 with 4 strikeouts. And here's the leadoff man, Venable. Wind has shifted a little bit, blowing out toward right more than center. Slicing drive left field, trouble, and down on the track. Perino coming around third. He will score. Venable has a triple. And the tying run just 90 feet away with nobody out. Boy, in a matter of just a handful of pitches, the complexion of this game has changed a lot.
Venable with a slicing drive down into that left field corner. A long run for Alfonso Soriano, and Will Venable really showed his speed on that play. He was motoring around those bases as Soriano eventually picks the ball up. Perino is going to score easily. Venable was not far behind him.
And here comes Dale with Denorfia due up. Tying run at third with nobody out. He's got Sean Camp ready. And it will be the veteran. Samardzija gets a nice ovation as he leaves with a precarious 1-run lead. Honda call to the pen. Will take us to break. It's a Honda call to the pen. And Sean Camp is in. Well, Bob, there are a lot of innings like this, runner at third, nobody out, where you kind of concede that run and just try to avoid a big inning. A little different today. You've got a 1-run lead and you're in the 8th inning. So what's Sean Camp's mindset here going against Denorfia? One at a time, right?
Yeah, that's really all you can do, one at a time. You'd like to either get a strikeout or a pop up on the infield to get that first out, and that gives you the option at least of pitching around the left-handed hitting Yonder Alonso. Dale Swain may choose to go with James Russell against Alonso. But then you've got Carlos Quentin lurking down in that 4-hole, who's been their hottest hitter in the game. Yeah, basically just take them one at a time. Execute good pitches. Hope for good results.
And with the infield in, if Venable goes on contact, there should be a play at the plate. Inside, 1-1. Back to Camp. There's number 1.
Any kind of an out where you can keep that ball on the infield and hold that runner at third base, and that time the little tapper back to the mound, just what the doctor ordered. Slider working its way away from Denorfia, just tried to poke it through the middle of the field, but Sean Camp right there to make the play.
Hey, fans, couldn't get tickets to the Red Sox or Cardinals series at Wrigley? Cubs Destinations has spots available for these highly anticipated matchups. All standard packages include great tickets, first-class hotel accommodations, a special Cubs gift bag, a tour of the ballpark, and a private meet and greet with a current Cubs player. For more info, visit Cubs.com. Here's Alonso. Infield still in. Outside for a ball. Oh for 8 in the series with 3 strikeouts. Camp nowhere near the plate on the first 2.
Trying to throw that backdoor slider to the left-handed hitting Alonso. And if you're going to miss with that pitch, make sure you miss further away, and that's exactly what Sean Camp did with those first 2 deliveries, way off the plate.
Line and caught by Baker on the dive. 2 huge defensive plays in this game. Soriano earlier and left, and Baker with a diving catch.
Well, that's just reaction right there. That ball was really stung by Alonso, and the Cubs with their infield drawn in. Very little reaction time, but Baker able to dive to his right for a big second out. Now watch the first pitch right here.
Well, you've got a couple bases open, and you have Quentin, who's already doubled, homered, and singled. Everybody back on the infield with 2 outs. Hill with a big block, 2-0. Fly ball to left. Soriano makes a catch. Sean Camp gets out of it. Retires all three with a runner at third. 4-3 Cubs.
Season, including the series against the Mets and the Astros starting June 25th at Wrigley Field. To purchase tickets, visit Cubs.com, call 1-800-THE-CUBS, or visit the Wrigley Field box office.
Here's former Cub Andrew Cashner. Acquired in the Anthony Rizzo deal over the winter. Missed most of last year, which ended up being his final year with the Cubs with a right rotator cuff strain. He made one start and was excellent before the injury. 6 relief appearances when he came back in September. And right now he's throwing on an average almost 99 miles an hour on his fastball.
He will light up a radar gun consistently, triple digits and above with his fastball. You saw the walk total, 14 in just over 21 innings pitched, so he can lose the zone from time to time, but can be overpowering with that fastball.
A 100 miles an hour in the first pitch.
Just getting loose.
Former 19th overall pick in the first round out of TCU of the Cubs in 2008.
Other than when the Cubs are playing the Padres, Andrew Cashner, a real easy guy to root for.
Yep.
He was one of our favorites in his short time here with the Cubs, and we wish him nothing but the best after the Padres get out of town. That trade Anthony Rizzo for Andrew Cashner, a perfect example of you got to give up something to get something. The Cubs had their eye on Anthony Rizzo. They knew that he was going to be a big part of the future. Andrew Cashner possibly could have been a big part of that future as well, but in order to get a top shelf hitter like the Cubs think Rizzo is going to be, had to give up a top shelf pitcher like they think Cashner is going to be.
A 102 on our gun. Low to make it 3-2. Outfielder Kyung-Min Na also went to the Padres. Rizzo and right-hander Zach Cates came the other way in the January 6th deal.
And one thing about a pitcher throwing 100 mile per hour plus, as a catcher, it's not easy to make borderline pitches look good. You're just trying to catch that ball before it hits the bricks.
Went with a changeup at 90 miles an hour. Well, I think Andrew Cashner you could start to put in the Jeff Samardzija category. Short reliever, starter. What's it going to be long term? Well, right now in short relief and hitting triple digits. 100 miles an hour, no problem for Mather, as he has a double to start the 8th. 2 for 3, 2 doubles and a walk for Mather.
Good day for Super Joe. Oh, belt high out over the plate. That's a nice quick swing. I think that's a mistake a lot of hitters make when they're facing a flamethrower like Andrew Cashner. They try to swing as hard as he's throwing. All you have to do is get that bat into the hitting zone. He's going to supply a lot of the power. Just quickly get the bat into the hitting zone. That time a double down into the right field corner. Look at Mather swing. The ball got in on him just a little bit, but had that bat in the strike zone quickly enough. And even though he mishit it a little bit because of the velocity, that ball rocketed down the right field line. Soriano, a one-man wrecking crew back in that 6th inning, going to straightaway center field against Eric Stoltz.
And in the top of the inning made the excellent catch and doubled up the pitcher Stoltz to end the threat. He was worth 2 runs that inning, just the home run. 35,219 the paid attendance on this glorious Tuesday afternoon in late May. And got him to chase for the first out. For ball 1. 2-0 the count. Cash letting that hair go in the back. Beard growing in there.
He's from Texas, but he's trying to fit in Southern California.
Yeah, he looks like he could also be fronting the band, the Black Keys. There's a base hit, looped into left. Mather's going to score. For the second in time to get Baker 2 outs, but a 5-3 lead as he knocks in Mather.
That fastball really running up and in off the plate. Actually, it was a changeup at 90 miles per hour. Baker just got enough of it to muscle it out there in front of Carlos Quentin.
So now the question is, will Sean Camp head back out for the 9th, or will left-hander James Russell get a chance at his first pro save? Not major league save, minors or majors. He's never had one. On the ground, Headley with a nice play. The spin, the throw, and the inning. Headley will lead off the top of the 9th. The Cubs now lead by 2. Xfinity high-speed action. Runner at third, nobody out as Sean Camp comes in. Gets to Northey on the 1-3. Jeff Baker, big defense, robbing Alonso. And then Carlos Quentin on a 2-0 slider flies to left.
And it will be Sean Camp to start the 9th inning, partially because Chase Headley, the leadoff hitter for the Padres, a much more effective hitter as a right-handed hitter. Coming into play today, he was hitting .302 as a right-hander with 4 home runs in 63 at-bats. .243 as a left-handed hitter with 3 home runs in 111 at-bats.
Camp has 10 career saves in the big leagues. He had 50 in the minors. I mentioned James Russell without one at any level. Dale Swaim said today Casey Coleman, who got the final 3 outs yesterday, is also in that mix. He wants strike throwers right now at the end of the ball game. 0-2.
And you may see Sean Camp stay in the ball game to face the on-deck hitter John Baker as well. A left-handed bat. You'd have the right-handed pitcher with a left-handed hitter, but Nick Hundley would be the option if they go to James Russell.
Well, how did that not hit Headley? I think he's upset with himself that he didn't stay in there. But your natural instinct is to get out of the way. Franklin Font couldn't haul it in. Wind still howling out the straightaway center, as it really has for the last 48 hours. Backdoor slider away, 3-2. Left field and foul up against the side wall.
Well, then we've been very complimentary of Alfonso Soriano and his improved defense in left field, but with a 2-run lead in the 9th inning, a lot of options for Dale Swain. He could have brought Tony Campana in to play center and slide Reed Johnson over to left. You could push Joe Mather out to left field, bring Ian Stewart in to play third, but electing to go with the veteran Soriano defensively here in the 9th.
Headley grounds out. A big first out. And now Dale coming out. And he is going to get James Russell. And Ian Stewart's going to come in. And I think what you just talked about is going to happen. Mather's going to go to left, Stewart to third. You've been in this spot before, haven't you?
You don't always have good options, but Dale did have some options here this inning. Just wanted to wait until he made the pitching change.
Here it is, a Honda call to the pen. James Russell, son of an all-star closer, will get his first shot at his first pro save when we come back. Lefty James Russell trying to get outs 26 and 27. So Mather moves a little farther away from home plate from third to left. Ian Stewart now at third, and it is going to be Baker, not Nick Hundley. And ball one.
We talked about it in last night's game. Bud Black working with a real short bench. Cameron Maben, some injury issues. He's already used Guzman and Perino off the bench. Hundley really is only available player at this point, so he elects not to use him to pinch hit in this situation.
James has jokingly, or maybe not so much, talked about the mentality of being a closer. He said you have to have something wrong with you, maybe a little screwy in the head. Goofy, stupid, whatever adjectives you want to use, he wears them proudly. Swing and a miss on a slider to make it 2-2. Got him. 2 away.
Just filthy stuff. Look at the location of all those pitches from James Russell, just leading Baker out of the strike zone time and time again with breaking balls off the outside corner, low and away.
Cabrera with 2 outs, nobody on. Strike 1. This time the Cubs won a series, a 7th through the 9th that beat the Braves 2 out of 3. Popped him up behind first. Barney can't make the play. It's a fair ball. Throw to second offline. The tying run will come up. Bloop double by Cabrera, and the Padres have some life.
Long run for Darwin Barney. Looked like he was in the vicinity, just couldn't come up with it cleanly. Had a long run. By that much.
The Cubs bullpen is quiet. This is all James Russell here. No matching up at this point. And it will be Nick Hundley to hit as a pinch batter in the pitcher's spot. So he's batting officially for Cashner. Strike. In the opener, Hundley 5 trips, 1 hit. It was a double. This one foul, and it's going to come back a little bit, but not back to the field of play.
That wind has been blowing pretty much straight out all afternoon, now blowing from left field toward right field. Tried to push that one back into the field of play.
1-2.
Right where Coy Hill wanted that breaking pitch. You may have noticed him drop his catcher's mitt down in the dirt. James Russell, don't leave it up in the zone. If you're going to miss down low. Boy, right there to smother.
Good thing to note, on any base hit, ball's got to go to second. Got to keep that tying run out of scoring position. Cubs are not concerned at all about Cabrera. Fouled back to the screen. Bob, how do fielders remind each other of those types of things with the math here in the ninth inning? Is that something everybody just knows, or you try to remind each other?
Yeah, you try to remind each other, but defensively, where the Cubs outfielders are playing right now, they've very little chance of throwing anybody out at home plate, so it's obvious that they're just going to try to keep Hundley off of second base on anything hit into play.
1-2 now. Did he go? He did. Cubs win. Like Joe West made that call from behind the plate, and the Cubs have taken this series. They will go for the sweep tomorrow. The final today, the Cubs 5, the Padres 3. And Bob, the thing you like is that when the Padres got close, the Cubs kept tacking on.
Hey, you like that a lot, and you like the job that Sean Camp did under dire circumstances. Runner at third base and nobody out. Managed to get out of the inning unscathed.
So Samardzija will get the win. Russell will get his first pro save. The player of the game, brought to you by GMC, is Jeff Samardzija.
All right, really good once again today. I mean, it seems like we